Hi, my name is Iffy Whitfill, and on January 16th, 2016, I suffered from a double stroke. It's something that I never thought would happen to me. It never even crossed my mind that I would have something like that happen to me. Strokes are something that you hear of older people having, and I honestly didn't really know anything about it before it happened to me. But when it happened to me, I was in complete shock. A lot of people ask me how I knew I was having a stroke, and I knew because I had the classic symptoms. I had the facial drooping on the left side, loss of my arm on the left side, and slurred speech. I also had some symptoms a few days before where I was stuttering my words, which they think may have been an indication of the first stroke that I had. What was really a shock is that for all of my life, I've been very active. As a young child, I played outside a lot, I ran around a lot, and I also was a collegiate athlete. I was a track and field athlete, which involves a whole lot of running. And in high school, I even played basketball too. So I was very active, and I just never thought something like that would happen to me, because that's the type of thing that happens to old people, is what I thought. That's the type of thing that happens to people who have clogged arteries, is what I thought. So I never understood that it can actually happen to young people as well. And it wasn't until I was in the hospital that I realized that you can actually have a stroke even as a baby. And since my stroke, I've met young people who have suffered the same fate. A lot of them not recovering well. It's really important to take care of your body, because I was lucky, and because I was so active, and because I did take care of my body, I 100% believe that that's why I was able to recover so quickly. Also, the fact that my brain is very active, I think, was also a benefit for me, because I did not let the stroke get me down. I kept my spirits up, and I stayed positive. And honestly, because it was such a shock, I think that I just did not even believe that it was happening, and I didn't allow my brain to really soak in the depths of what had happened to me, that I could have possibly died if I wasn't in the right place at the right time. Luckily, I wasn't asleep when it happened, and I was awake, and I was able to get the drugs that I needed to help and reduce my symptoms after the fact. The doctors later found out after my stroke that I actually have what's called a PFO. A PFO is a small hole in the heart chamber, and what it does is it allows blood flow to go over to the brain in the cases where it usually wouldn't. And what it does is that it just puts you at a higher risk if you do have a clot. So because there's a hole in my heart, the clot was able to travel from one side of my heart to the other side of my heart and go to my brain. That's how I had the stroke. But with your brain, the veins are so small in there that any size clot can cause major damage. I just celebrated 2 years post-stroke, and I'm very excited to say that I'm doing really well, as you can tell from this video. A lot of the things that happened after my stroke that I wasn't expecting was, first of all, slurred speech, being able to connect my thoughts and say them slowed down a little bit for me. It was actually quite nice to be able to think before I spoke, so let's say that. But it was also frustrating at times when I was trying to talk and I wasn't able to say what I needed to say quickly enough like I was used to. Another thing that I struggled with was nerve pain. Just shooting pains in my arms and in my legs from the nerve damage that I had in my brain. Another thing that bothered me was just the dripping on the left side of my face. A lot of people don't notice it because I don't usually post pictures or do things where you can really see that I have that issue, and it might just look like it's a cute little lopsided smile. In fact, I was at a photo shoot, and the photographer mentioned, "Oh, I love how you have that cute little side smile," and I just kind of like chuckled to myself like, yeah, that's not really on purpose, you know. But that's something else that I just had to embrace, that is part of me. And since most people can't notice that it's due to a stroke, I don't take it to heart, and I just try to be positive about it. But the other thing that people don't realize is that stroke survivors can suffer with depression and other issues. And as a stroke survivor, you deal with silent issues that nobody else can see, and it can be disheartening at times because people don't understand what you're going through, and people don't understand why you're strange or why you act different or why you have issues with certain things, because you look normal, and they just don't understand it, and they think that you should be the way you were before your stroke. They don't understand that brain damage is probably one of the worst things that can happen to you, because you can't see it, but then you have these issues that aren't as prevalent as the people who maybe suffered brain damage in other areas of their brain where they're not able to like eat or talk or do other things. But with the mild brain damage, you can even still have issues. I'm going to conclude this by saying that even though you might be healthy and even though you may take care of yourself, you should do the most you can at all times to do that, because you just never know when something can strike you. So thank you so much for listening. My name is Iffy Whitfield, and this is my stroke survivor story.